So let's now begin writing our test scenarios. We will begin by a registration functionality. So here, like we see in this picture, we have a part of an SRS document. So first we have the ID of the requirement. This is FR3, which is functional requirement 3. Like we said, there are functional requirements which describe the functions in the application and non-functional requirements. In non-functional requirements, we talk about, for example, performance, usability, or security. Title, user registration, mobile application. Then we have the description. Given that a user has downloaded the mobile app, the user should be able to register through the mobile app. The user must provide username, password, and email address. The user can choose to provide a regularly used phone number. So we understand from this document that there are 3 required fields, which are the username, the password, and the email address. And there is one optional field, which is the phone number. RAT means rational, so what is the rationality of this requirement? Why do we need it? In order for the user to register to the mobile application. Then we have the dependency, FR1, so this requirement, FR3, depends on FR1, which is downloading the mobile app. The dependency is important because it specifies the order of execution of those scenarios. So we need to write scenarios for this requirement. When we write test scenarios, we can write them in the form of first person, second person, or third person. First person means that you are the user. For example, you say, I will enter the username. It is not recommended to use first person or second person. In second person, you are talking to the user. So for example, you are entering a username. Mostly, we write test scenarios, test cases, or defect reports in the form of third person. Okay, the user provides a username and so on. So here, let's begin and write our scenarios. First, we write the valid scenarios, then the invalid. Valid scenarios or positive scenarios are the normal scenarios. For example, a user provided a correct username, a correct password, a correct email. Invalid scenarios or negative scenarios are scenarios that are expected to cause errors in the system. For example, the user provided a wrong username, or empty email, or forgot to provide a password, and so on. So here we will begin to write our scenarios. We will click on add an item and write the first scenario. The first scenario is the valid scenario. So we can say verify registration using valid data. But here we have 2 valid scenarios. What are they? The first one in which we provide a phone number, and the second one in which we leave the phone number field empty. So we can say here, leave phone number empty. The other valid scenario is verify registration using valid data and enter a valid phone number. So here we tested both scenarios. One of them, we don't have a phone number, and the other, we provide a valid phone number. Then we should think about the invalid scenarios. We know that the username field is required, the password field is required, and the email field is required. So each one of them cannot be left empty. We should test what happens if we leave those fields empty. So we will leave the username field empty. In this case, the system should give me an error message telling me that the username field can't be left empty. The same with the password and the email. You might say, why don't we test the 3 cases at the same time, leaving the username field empty and the password field empty and the email field empty? In this case, if we click on sign up, the system might give me an error, or it might crash. Because this is a mobile application, the application might crash. So if the application crashes, which one of the 3 fields caused the crash of the application? We don't know. In this case, we have to test each one of them separately again. So the better way to test those scenarios is to test each one of them separately from the first time. Okay? So always remember, you should only make an error or a mistake in one field and leave all other fields valid. Okay? Don't make mistakes in more than one field at the same time. So here we say verify registration while leaving username field empty. This is the first one, I'll copy it. The second one, leaving password field empty. The third one, leaving email field empty. So here I tested each one of them. Then we have invalid formats for each field. So we have invalid username, invalid password, and invalid email. So first, let's think about the username. What does the word invalid mean here? So invalid username might mean very short username. So in most applications, the username must be at least 3, 4, 5, or 6 digits. So we can say verify registration using very short username. Okay, for example, hi. Mostly this is an invalid username. If the requirements specify a length of the username, so we should follow this length. For example, the requirements say the username must be at least 6 characters. In this case, we try 5 characters. Another invalid username is the already used username. So verify registration using an already used username. Okay. In test scenarios, we do not specify the expected result. So here the expected result is, for example, that the system tells me that this username is already taken and suggests other usernames. But specifying the expected result is done only in writing test cases, which we will see later. So here we tested the short username, the empty username, and the already used username. We can also provide a username in another language. So most websites use usernames in English format, okay? So what if we try to log in or register using a username in Arabic or Russian, for example? Okay, those are non-Latin languages. So here we can say verify registration using a non-Latin username. Let's say this is my name in Arabic, okay? And we say Arabic or Russian. In Facebook, for example, signing up using an Arabic name or Russian name is a valid scenario, okay? But you should test it. In some other applications, this is an invalid scenario. You must only use English characters. So those are the invalid scenarios for the username. Then we have the password. So what if the password field has some restrictions? So let's say, for example, here I will write password field restrictions. Okay, and they are specified in the requirements. Password must be at least 6 characters. Okay, characters. Password must include upper case and lowercase letters. Password must be alphanumeric. This means that the password must include numbers and letters. Password must include at least one special character. Okay, those are many restrictions. So how many restrictions or requirements are specified here? The first is 6 characters, the second is uppercase, the third is lowercase, the fourth is numbers, and the fifth is special characters. We have 5 requirements or criteria. So here we need 5 scenarios. We need to do the same what we did in testing empty username, empty password, and empty email. We have 5 restrictions. Each time we will follow 4 of them and leave the 5th and see what is the error message that appears to the user. For example, we can say the first one, verify registration using a short password. Okay, and we can give an example. We need a short password less than 6 characters, but it includes uppercase letters, it includes lowercase letters, it includes numbers and special characters. We can say AP12 hashtag. So here, this includes uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and special characters. But it is not 6 characters or more. So in this case, the error message should be, the password must be at least 6 characters. Then we can say verify registration using a password that doesn't include lowercase letters. So in this case, the password will be 6 characters or more, but it doesn't include lowercase letters. We can say APC12 hashtag. So here the error message should say the password must include at least one lowercase letter. Then password that doesn't include uppercase letters, we can say this ABC. Okay, then we can say a password that doesn't include any letters, no uppercase or lowercase, and we can say 1, 2, okay, like this. Then we have a password that doesn't include any numbers. We can call it ABC12 hashtag. Then a password that doesn't include any special characters. So this is ABC123. So like we see, those are all the password scenarios. Then we have the email address scenarios. So also, what are the invalid scenarios in the email address? We have first a wrong format email. So the email has a format which is abc, for example, @xyz.com. This is a scenario. The second one is registering or signing up using an already registered email. So in this case, the error message should say this email is already registered. So here we can say, okay, verify registration using an invalid format in the email field, like this, for ABC123. Also verify registration using an already used email address. Okay, those are the invalid email scenarios. We have already tested the empty email. Then we have the phone number. So also in the phone number, this is not a required field, but it should follow a specific format. The phone number should only accept numbers. It shouldn't accept letters or special characters. So verify that the phone number field only accepts numbers. Okay, and we say it doesn't accept special characters or letters. This is a scenario. And verify registration using a very short phone number. So phone numbers around the world are at least, for example, 7 characters. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. If this is a local application that is only used in Egypt, for example, or United Arab Emirates, or India, or America, in this case, we need also to ensure that the length of the phone number is the same as the length of the phone numbers in this country. In Egypt, for example, phone numbers are either 10 or 11 digits, and they begin with 01. So in this case, I will test that the phone number begins with 01, and it only consists of 10 or 11 characters. Any other format will not be accepted. So here, those are all the sign up test scenarios. We have, like we see here, 18 scenarios in the sign up functionality. While I'm testing my project, I might find more scenarios so I can add them here. When the application is ready for testing, I should execute those scenarios on the application, and any executed scenario, I will click here. So like you see, we have finished 6% out of the scenarios, which is 1 out of 18. If I test all of them, for example, of course, I will find defects. We will talk about documenting defects later, how to write a defect report. So like you see, okay, here, this is done. It turned into green. I will remove them again. So this is how to write some simple scenarios for the sign up functionality. Like we said, the sign up functionality changes from one application to the other. Here we can say sign up mobile application SRS, because we tested this application using an SRS. This is a test basis.